Motion. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are adopted. Item number one, under new business, approval of disbursement from District Five improvement funds for Christmas decor by Bama. Total $13,000. Council President Tyner.
I think that, he's not here, but that's not the singing Christmas tree, is it?
Is
Could-
Ms.
that the
Andrews,
singing-
can you tell us
That's
anything
not the
about
singing
that?
I
Christmas
think
tree,
just
is it?
17,000.
So, yes, sorry, let me get my bearings real quick. Yes, this is the item for the Christmas tree at Gateway Park.
Oh, wow.
So we have received the invoice for $13,000, and Mr. Tyner has, the amount of money in his district improvement funds for that.
So what if we vote it down? Does that mean we're being screwed? We don't have
You'll be
Christmas?
the Grinch.
We'd have to pay for it somehow, some way from other funding, so.
That's a joke, Carly. I am joking. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Christmas tree is approved. Ms. Standridge, general fund budget revision number 4.
Yes, sir. This item is to request allocation of insurance proceeds that we have received from TPD for damaged vehicles, and to apply that to being able to purchase equipment for a new vehicle for TPD. The total amount for the truck, I think, is $65,700, and they have gotten that and more in their insurance proceeds for the year.
Motion.
Second.
Chief, what happened? We chasing bad guys?
Yes, sir. They were working hard and worked a little too hard and had a couple accidents. So we're going to use that money to get done.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item is approved. Ms. Standridge, number 3, general fund reserve for future improvements, budget revision number 7.
Yes, sir. This budget revision has 2 separate parts. The first part is that we have entered into an agreement with the Rivermont subdivision to put in some street lights. Their HOA is going to pay for the street lights completely, and so we are needing to budget for the cost reimbursement amount and then the installation cost for the street lights. That total amount is $10,356. So it's a revenue on one side and expenditure on the other, and so a complete wash.
Any questions, comments?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then,
There's a second part to that one.
Oh,
I'm
there's a
sorry,
second part.
I stopped speaking and that was my fault. So the second part of the RFFI budget revision is we have a policy within the city to put aside, whenever a new camera is installed, we will take money from the project budget and set it aside for camera storage escrow. That is for purchasing of any storage needs in, such as server arrays or new server space. And we have a couple of projects within the Elevate Fund that are ready for transfer for those amounts. The total amount that we are going to be transferring is $68,500, and those camera projects include Western Riverwalk, the Benjamin Barnes YMCA, and those types of projects. So it's $500 per camera that will then be transferred and held for whenever we need to purchase new equipment in
Is that
IT.
like Snow Hill Park too? I mean, is it a bunch of different?
It's a bunch of different ones.
so 68.5 is the total.
Yes, sir, $68,500.
Is there a question or comment? Is there a motion to make the second part also approved as was the first part of
Second.
this motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item is approved.
I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. And then, gentlemen, if we could, I've asked Ms. Standridge, and I see our illustrious bond counsel, there we go. As we know, coming up later in the spring, we've got a bond issue. And I've asked for kind of a preview in the headlights level talk, not talk, but a discussion, just so that we can start getting ourselves snapped in. Mr. Garrison, Ms. Standridge, I do not want to go deep dive into details. I just want, here's what's coming up. Here's how big we think it is. Here's when it is. These are how we're seeing the breakdowns among big categories. And I believe this has got both a taxable and a tax-free component.
Yes, that's correct. So generally, as far as just the size of it, we're looking at approximately $71 million out of Elevate, and then $75 million out of water and sewer. The water and sewer piece is out of the 10-year plan that has been in the works, I think, since 2021. And that is completely non-taxable. The Elevate side is really where you're gonna see the mix between the taxable and non-taxable. That is, like I said, approximately $71 million. The taxable piece at this juncture is $55 million, and that is for the Savings Center.
55 or 65?
55.
55, okay.
And so the rest of that would be a non-taxable issuance.
And what are the big components within Elevate that remainder is envisioned for?
Sure. So that is going to be Bowers Park for their pickleball center. Odom Park was another item in there. The Northern Riverwalk Phase 2, and then the Savings Center is all the Elevate portion.
Okay. Gentlemen, that's really the level that I envision going to, that we've
Yeah,
got the people.
The AMP's not part of that,
No, sir.
not yet.
Not their big 10-year plan, no, sir. Now, I think that one thing that we had talked about was general pricing that we have,
Yes.
currently. Mr. Garrison got us some estimates for that, and for the non-taxable piece, we're looking at about 62,000 per million, and from the taxable side, we're looking about 72,000 per million.
62 and 72?
Yes, sir. And all of those items and all of those amounts factored over the debt issuance is well within our projected debt service budgets that we do in our 10-year planning.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When we were talking about this, it's been a year or so ago probably, what was our number? Was it that we were working at that time? How much has it gone up, Carly? Was it 55 million, or I'm sorry, 55,000 per million? I can't remember. What was that number?
So the last time we did an issuance, it was just over 59,000 per million. So I say, when I'm estimating, I say about 60,000 per million.
Okay.
When we were estimating for any possible interest rate growth, we knew that there would be play within that. So we will generally budget at 65 to 70,000 per million, which is why I say with that general mix of 62,000 per million estimated for non-taxable and 72 for taxable, we are well within our budget amounts for debt service in the 10-year plan.
And unless, we feel, and I guess this may be a question too for you, for Lee also, right now, we feel that interest rates are fairly stable for now. I know the Fed cutting rates a little bit. We're kind of feeling good about this, right?
I'm going to let Mr. Garrison answer that one. That
I mean,
one's far
Let's
beyond
see if he's
my.
dumb enough to think
And I
this.
know we can't predict that. I know you can't, but I'm curious about the outlook of what the experts say.
Can I
Mr.
jump
Mullins
in?
raising his hand.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real fast? Ms. Johnson's
Yeah.
not in here, so I'll act as parliamentarian. I think we need to suspend the rules and add this to the agenda to discuss.
Okay.
To
No, that's
discuss.
fine.
Motion to
Sorry.
suspend. No, Scott, that's a good point. Thank you. I didn't know for a discussion. if that was a
I think so, and I
requirement.
would have
There's no
asked
vote.
Brandy if she was sitting here. So.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine.
Motion to
Suspend the rules. so we
suspend
can
the
discuss
rules,
this.
yeah.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tom.
Okay, so, y'all probably been seeing the rate cuts last year. In the last year, we do expect the market saying anywhere from 2 to 3 rate cuts, 25 basis point rate cuts this year. We do not expect one tomorrow, but we could be surprised because everything's kind of been a little bit different in the last week or so. So we'll see. They're still following the inflation and the employment data to make decisions. The Fed is. But the thing is that the Fed just adjusts, as a lot of us may know, just the short-term rates, right? So the 10-year is determined by the market, 10-year treasury. And then pretty much a lot of taxable type and mortgages and things like that, loans, financial instruments is based off the 10-year. So wherever the 10-year goes is where it goes, mortgages, things like that. So the market is kind of determining where we're going right now. And there's a little bit of disagreement between what the market thinks right now and maybe what the Fed thinks right now. And supposedly they're they're supposed to be independent and autonomous. So I say all that, a mouthful of garbage to say that nobody really knows where rates are going. We could go to issue this in early May, and we could see some benefits. Now, last time Trump got elected in 2016, the rates shot up, and then they fizzled back down. And so you just got to look at history to see maybe if that'll repeat itself. But I think the market's still trying to digest a lot of the tariffs and what's inflationary, what's not. What he's saying is just negotiating tactic versus what he's really going to do. I think all of us have seen that.
But so far, the market is, but they're reacting to a potential couple of cuts, right? I mean, that's factored in what that rate potentially is right now.
They put on their dot plot anywhere from 2 to 3. They went into the year.
I think I was reading the earliest one would be June. Is that what you're reading?
That's what they're
Wall Street
saying,
Journal
unless
something.
for
I
some
think
reason
maybe
they get
one
numbers
in
that
June maybe, but
show that inflation is raising its head again or unemployment is being altered negatively. So those are their two main things that the Fed looks at, as we all know that that's what they look at, and they base their short-term rate on that. So, I mean,
all of that could
we're in
change
the
15
4%
minutes.
range in the 30-year stuff. I think it's about mid-4s, and then a little bit over 5 in the taxables.
It's like
For 30 years?
4.65, and then I think it was like 5.2.
Yeah.
Was the,
And where were we last time we went to the market?
I'll have to go back and look, but it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Ish.
I mean, like I said, it was right over 59,000 per million. So like I think like 59,600 per million. So
Just a little bit.
The lowest one we ever did was right in the middle of COVID, and nobody else did one but y'all. But y'all were kind of they live by the Buffett theory. Y'all were greedy when others are fearful, or fearful when others are greedy, and y'all went into the market and got, I think, 2.5% over 30 years. So that was a wise move, but a lot of people were scared to do anything.
Another question, really the biggest one for me, as the headlights begin to reveal what we're looking at in terms of amounts, breakdowns between taxable and tax-free, and certainly, although we've just agreed, rates are still going to wiggle, barring major moves. From a debt service standpoint, are we still within the lateral limits that our bond rating agencies are aware of and are nodding north and south to as we move?
we are well below those actually. We told them that we might have plans for something bigger, and that's what they based their ratings on when we were last reviewed. And so we are actually well beneath what we told them.
All right.
Because we were talking about 90.
Plus MLK Jack Warner Parkway, which is another 35 that's not coming to fruition yet. And yes.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Mayor, any comments?
I think the thing to hold true to beyond interest rates and what we can speculate, you just mentioned the MLK Jack Warner Parkway project. We're having some very positive discussions with the railroad. We just got another project manager. They rotate the project managers through the project. We don't know when that will hit. And so that may be something, and again, that is reimbursed by TCRIC, yet it still falls under the city's.
Which is that wall? Remind me.
So here's again, you hate to put stakes in the ground, but you're probably talking somewhere between 40 to 50 million. And again, that we don't know when that project will hit. My guess would be fall of 25 or first quarter of 26.
How
At
long?
40 to 50, is that enough to be standalone, or does that need to be packaged with other issues?
I mean, that could be a standalone, but also there's, depending on what the bid prices come in, we would have to go back to TCRIC to get possibly funding agreement revision, and but no, 40 to 50 could be its own standalone.
As you saw, we will present our capital budget in, I can't remember that, I want to say April 22nd. somewhere in that time frame. My goal over the next few months is to develop a schedule of bond issues that we normally do to give us that master plan before we go to New York sometime later in April or May. And so that's the work we're beginning on now, trying to base the timing of the project with the amount of funding we anticipate it will need.
Okay, so that's what's driving the when on pulling the trigger.
Yes, again, on MLK Jack Warner, that's the one I feel least confident about in terms of timing. We're at the 100% double pinky swear portion of it. But you don't know when you will get that final master agreement. And we are going, and I'm looking at Mr. Bobbitt there, we're going back and forth with master agreements on both lines. So I feel good, we're in a very good position, but that could be something that hits later in June. If it hits later in June, you're probably not going to bids to August, which means you're probably not awarding bids to October or November, which means you may want to push that to the next year budget cycle. So those are the decisions we want to work with the council the next 3 months and how we organize and move forward with it.
Okay.
Ms. Standers, does that lead out anything? I'll make sure I got that.
Absolutely right.
Great. Thank you all. Just the right level of detail and to get us prepped and begin to get ready. Any other questions or any other business to be brought before the committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.